welcome to Pet Pals. I'm Bethany Davidson, the Humane Educator at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. Co-hosting and animal wrangling with me this morning is our volunteer coordinator, Sean Snyder. Today we have an all-cat show for all of you cat lovers. Our population, as we've been talking about in the last couple of episodes, is a little bit low, especially with our dogs. So it gives us an opportunity to really dive into getting to know some of our cats and getting another chance to see cats that maybe have already been on the show before. Our first guest is a newcomer. This is Destiny, and she came in with another cat named Zion, who is actually being adopted already. They're kind of twins. They're very hard to tell apart. We have to use the microchip reader to figure out which one is which. And they look like kittens, but they're actually a year old. So a lot of people wish that they could have a kitten forever. Destiny is a way to have a kitten forever. She is a year old and weighs just under 6 pounds. She's very petite. She is a gray tabby and white. She is a domestic medium hair. So, excuse me. When you're getting a cat with longer fur, it's really important to make sure that you are helping them with grooming maintenance as needed. So, brushing them out more frequently, because the longer the fur, the more likely they are to be able to get some of those mats in there. And it's just like when you get your hair tangled up, it pulls on the skin, it's painful, and they can get, more and more matted and more uncomfortable. So if you're brushing those longer furred cats out regularly, it prevents that from happening. A lot of people think that if you have a longer haired cat, that there's going to be more fur. In my experience, because I do have a medium-haired cat at home, I love him because his fur tends to come out in clumps, which is much easier to clean up than my short-haired cats who are just dropping little pieces of fur everywhere they go. So there's a little bit of a difference there. This cat is a little bit shy, but they are starting to warm up the more they're here in the shelter environment, the more they get used to it. And because she has been living with her sister, we know that she does get along with other cats. It's important to make sure that you're properly integrating them, though. You're not just throwing her in with another cat if that's something that would be an occurrence in your household with multiple cats. We go over all of those kind of processes in our adoption interview to make sure that everybody's going to have a smooth transition when they're adding a new pet to their household. If you're interested in meeting Destiny, you can do so here at the shelter. Our address is 1832 Rosemont Avenue. This is Baba Yaga, and she is about 4 to 5 years old. She is a black domestic shorthair. She came to us previously owned, but she didn't have a name, so we went ahead and set her up with a name so that she could, feel a little bit better, have a little bit of an identity, things like that. It would be weird if we just called her number 20-1905. So all of the stray animals or unnamed animals get names here when they arrive at animal control. When you look at Baba Yaga, you might notice that she has some hair loss. This is not an uncommon thing that we see here. Our vet has looked at her and thinks that it's primarily related to a flea allergy. So some cats can get fleas and it's uncomfortable, they bite them, they're itchy, but other cats can have that same problem, but they're allergic to those flea bites, and as a result, they more overgroom and sometimes their fur falls out, which is kind of the case with her. We've seen it here many times. As they get better care, their fur starts to grow back, and eventually you won't even notice. We've had 3 cats that I can really think of right now that have definitely had severe hair loss due to flea allergies, and all of their fur has grown back nicely in a relatively short period of time, and they're happy in their new homes. One of the things that I do want to point out about this cat is she is incredibly friendly. She likes attention, but unlike a lot of her neighbors, she doesn't feel the need to be obnoxious about it. So she's right next to Deli, and Deli is always at the front of her cage, meowing and reaching out for people. So she kind of gets a little bit more attention just because she's more out there. She's more encouraging people to give it to her. Whereas Baba Yaga likes to she's a little bit older at 4 to 5. She just kind of hangs out in the back of her cage, and if you stop and pet her, then she is really accepting of that. She starts to walk out a little bit further more to the front of her cage, but she's definitely a more mellowed out and relaxed cat. She can be a little bit shy, but for the most part, she's just more calm, more confident in herself in that regard. Because she is listed as 4 to 5, she would go home for the 5-year-old senior discount, which would make her adoptable for a fee of $77.50. Our next guest has a very kind of distinctive look to her that I think right now sets her apart from the other cats on the adoption floor. Not necessarily her coloring, but just she has that very long, narrow kind of face, more of like an Oriental breed type of thing. That really sets her apart. She has a really long tail as well. And she is what we would refer to as a return to shelter. This is Elektra, and she is a 3-year-old gray tabby in white. And when she was here the first time, she was just a kitten, a 12-week-old kitten named Bernadette. She was a product of our foster care program, and then she got adopted. And unfortunately, the owners are saying that there's now an allergy issue with their youngest child in their household, so they had to return her to us. When you adopt an animal from us, if you're unable to continue to care for them and you're not able to find a loving, suitable home for them, we want you to bring them back to us. We would prefer that they not go to a different shelter, but if you have to bring them to a shelter, it would be this one. Now, generally speaking, we only take in animals from county residents, but we do stand by our animals. So if you adopt and you're out of county or things like that, we are always going to take our pets back. Elektra is about 3 years old, and she was described to me as a very active cat. If you're looking for a cat that's just going to sit on your lap all day, probably not this one. But if you're looking for a cat that's going to be independent and kind of hang out with you, but is okay being by herself, a cat that's going to be very playful and you're going to be able to interact with her and throw mice and do all kinds of different toys, then she might be a good fit. Her previous owners said that she had gotten along with cats and dogs, but I have noticed here in the shelter environment that when she gets a little glimpse of some of the other cats, that sometimes she's a little hissy. That could just be the environment. It could be like that they're in cages and that's not her typical behavior, but something to be aware of. We'll keep an eye on that as we're getting to know her more now as an adult rather than a kitten. They said that she was playful, energetic, friendly. They said that she was calm and independent, which we've kind of seen here for the most part. They also said that she's afraid of loud noises. Most cats are, and the vacuum or a door slamming or something dropping, they kind of react and they scurry away and hide under the couch for a little bit. So she's, pretty much your typical cat, but she is going to be, again, very, very active. If you're interested in Elektra, you can visit her here at the shelter. Her adoption fee would be $97.50 as an adult cat. This is Matilda, and she's another one of our senior cats. She's about 6 years old. She is a gray domestic short hair. And when Matilda first arrived, she was incredibly shy. But slowly over time, she's really proven herself to be an incredibly affectionate cat. Right now, she's showing her super shy side because she's in an unfamiliar environment. Excuse me. There's different noises, there's different smells, there's different people. So she's being a little bit shy. But in her cage where now she's feeling comfortable, she is a little cautious at first. But then once you kind of start petting her, she becomes very engaged. She comes to the front of her cage. She starts rolling around, showing you her belly. She really loves attention and affection. What I found is I had never tried to kind of pick her up or anything like that. She was fine being held and carried here. It was just when we came kind of through the doors that make loud noises and right into this room with the air vent that she really started to get incredibly uncomfortable. So with a little bit of time and patience, she's going to be an amazing pet for any family. Her history, she has been with other cats before, so if you have a multi-cat household, she would do really well there as well. And then she's lived in a home with dogs of multiple sizes. So I think the largest dog in that household was a Saint Bernard, and then there are Chihuahuas in that household as well. So she is accustomed to dogs of all shapes and sizes and cats as well. She is one, again, we recommend that 10-day isolation period that would really benefit her for, just acclimating and getting used to new surroundings. But once she's acclimated, I think she will be a cat that's going to be around and hang out with your family and want to, sit on the lap and cuddle and get lots of attention. Because she is a senior, she too would be adopted for that $20 reduction in her adoption fee, which would make her available for $77.50. If you wanted to visit with her, you could do so here at the shelter. Our visiting hours are going to be Monday, Tuesday, and Friday from 10 to 5, Wednesday and Thursday from 12 to 8, and Saturday from 10 to 4. Our next guest is Arlo, and Arlo is one of our older kittens that are currently available for adoption. He is about, in the beginning of January, we were listing him as 8 to 10 months old, so now he's probably 9 to 11 months old. He is a brown tabby and white, and you'll notice, is ear-tipped. That means that he might have been part of a trap, neuter, release program previously. When outdoor cats, barn cats, feral cats are spayed or neutered, it is not uncommon for them to get part of their left ear tipped so that from a distance people can recognize that they have already been altered, so they don't need to be trapped so that they could be altered again. Arlo is part of our cat positive program here through the Jackson Galaxy Project, GreaterGood.org, and the Petco Foundation. So in order to help make him more adoptable and provide enrichment for him here, we are training him using clicker training so that he can learn different skills. So he has an outlet for all of his energy, but for cats that are maybe more shy, it helps build their confidence, makes them more adoptable, and makes their stays here less stressful and more enjoyable. Arlo is actually the cat that I've been working with, so I've been fortunate enough to learn a lot about him. So he is a mixture of a lot of different things. So he can be a little shy at first, and he loves to burrow and bury. He has what I call Fort Arlo. He now lives in our kitty cabana, and he likes to go under all of the rugs, and he flips over beds and sleeps underneath those, and that's just kind of how he likes to hang out. When you go in and you say his name, he kind of meows and then walks out, but when he's by himself, he just likes to hang out in his fort. And what kid didn't like to hang out in a pillow and blanket fort? So he is also a very affectionate cat. He likes to come and sit on your lap. He likes to be picked up and held. He likes to be petted, but he does have his limits. He's very independent. So when he doesn't want to do something, he's going to let you know that he doesn't want to do it. He prefers to have the opportunity to kind of choose what he's going to do, and he wants to be able to walk away and go play if he wants to do that. He also is an avid fan of playing, so he is kind of a cat that's the best of all worlds. Because he will sit and cuddle with you, but he's also, you can take like the stick toys and he'll be all over the place chasing after those, but he's capable also of sitting off by himself. He now lives in the kitty cabana, so he's learning to live with other cats, and if you were interested in him, you could adopt him for a fee of $97.50. After the break, we're going to introduce you to 5 more of the shelter's adoptable cats.
Did you know that paper towels, as well as disposable cups, plates, and cutlery, are not recyclable? Not even styrofoam coffee cups or fast food soda cups that may have a so-called recycling symbol stamped on the bottom. In our region, there is no market for these materials to be sold and made into new products, so please leave them out of your recycling cart or bin. Better yet, whenever possible, try to use reusable cups and servingware. More information on recycling and waste reduction can be found online, on our mobile app, or by calling our office. Thanks for helping Frederick County recycle right.
Welcome back. This is Mira, and she has been on the show before, but there's been some changes in Mira's life since she was last on Pet Pals. So she recently moved into the kitty cabana with Arlo, and while she's one of our Purple Card's cats and can be a little sassy sometimes, she has been showing herself to be incredibly affectionate, incredibly outgoing. I've not had any issues with her. It's just about respecting an animal's space, and when they're done being petted and interacting with and they want to walk away, then, let them walk away or read their body language and you leave them alone, depending on what their situation is. Right now, when you go into the kitty cabana, Mira is one of the cat that wants to greet you, whereas Arlo is hiding in his fort. She comes right to the door. The other day I was just sitting in there on the floor. She came right over, sat on my lap, wanted to get lots of attention like she's doing right now with Sean. She's just been very super sweet. She likes to explore. She's very confident. She's also an Olympic athlete, gold medalist sleeper. She can sleep in any way, any situation. I have a whole, collection of photos of her sleeping in beds in weird ways. She's super comfortable in this environment, so I can only imagine that she would be really comfortable in a home environment. But because she can be a little sassy, again, she'll let you know when she's done, although the staff has told me that she's also quick to forgive, so once she's kind of let her opinion be known, she'll come right back for more attention. In the cabana, she has shown herself to be a little bit of a piggy. She ate all of Arlo's food the other day, so if you have multiple cats in your household, making sure that she's not going to eat everybody's food is going to be really important, so that the other cats are obviously getting food, but so she's not becoming overweight as well. There have been some scuffles. She's kind of establishing herself as the cat that's in charge in the cabana, but that's not an uncommon thing for them to kind of figure out what the hierarchy is with other pets. If you're interested in Mira, you can visit her at the Kitty Cabana here at the shelter. Our address is 1832 Rosemont Avenue. This is Hux, and not only is he a singer, he's one of our shy cats. He's in his bed because his bed is kind of his safe zone, and he feels more comfortable when he has that with him. So to make coming on Pet Pals less stressful for him, we've just kind of left him in his bed and carried him out like that. So it's kind of like a kid who has like a blankie. So Hux has been with us since the end of December, and originally we were saying he was about 6 to 8 years old, but we recently sent him to another vet to have a dental done, and when he came back from that, they had reevaluated his age, so they're saying that now he's more 8 to 9 years old. When I say he had a dental, a lot of cats and dogs for that matter, at some point in their life, there's just so much tartar buildup on their teeth. Sometimes they have broken teeth, sometimes they're starting to rot. So not only do they need their teeth cleaned, but a lot of times they need teeth to be extracted. So recently, Hux has had a bunch of his teeth pulled. Doesn't seem to bother him that much. As we transition them, at first they just eat soft food so that it's more easy on them to eat. They don't have to chew a lot, things like that. But as they get more comfortable and that heals up a little bit, a lot of them can go back to eating dry food. Sometimes it just doesn't bother them. And also some cats don't actually chew it up in the first place, so it really doesn't matter. They're swallowing it whole. Again, Hux is one of our shyer cats, but he loves attention. He loves to be petted. He just would probably do best in a quieter household, one that's going to be a little bit more patient and understanding of the fact that he is nervous. When we have cats like this, oftentimes we send them home with things that they are comfortable with so that they have something to help them transition, feel safe, that smells like them. It makes that process a little less stressful for them. But he's not the only shy cat we have right now. We have cats that are actually even shyer than he is, but that are also doing really well, but they would maybe not do so well coming out on the show. So if you are okay with having a shy cat, you like cats that are quieter and maybe you need to earn their trust a little bit, but you're looking for maybe something younger or a female cat, we have some of those to choose from on the adoption floor as well. Right now, Hux is just kind of hanging out. He's getting attention from our volunteers, but because he's a little bit older and a little shy, some people overlook him. Definitely take the time to meet him. If you're looking for a cat that's going to hang out on your lap and be kind of quiet and calm, he is going to be a great addition to your household. Because he is a senior, the cats, again, that are from 5 to 9 go home for a $20 reduction in their adoption fee. And so that would make him adoptable for a fee of $77.50. And we want to thank Focus, our nonprofit, for paying for Hux's dental so that he could be more comfortable while he is here in the shelter. Our next cat is Smokey, and Smokey is a cat that has been on the show before. She is one of our longer term residents. She arrived at the end of October, and when we had Smokey in a cage, she was definitely known for being a little bit sassy. She was a cat that just didn't seem super happy. She was always kind of just sitting in her cage. She looked a little depressed, and sometimes if you tried to pick her up or things like that, she would definitely give you a little swat or two. And we recently moved her into what I call the cat suite. It's a larger room in the small animal room, and she's used to now being able to do what she wants, and now she wants to walk around on the floor. So her behavior since she's been moved in there is way different. She is always asking for attention. If she sees somebody or hears somebody walk by her room, she comes right out to the front. She likes to get up and scratch at the glass. When you go in, she asks for affection. She rubs up against you. She wants you to rub her head and play with her. She too is part of our Cat Positive program. So right now she has been learning to sit on cue. I found that a lot of these animals are great at doing these things when there's not an audience, but once somebody is watching them, they are less inclined to perform for us, which is typical of a cat in my opinion. But she's been learning to do a lot of different things. They're learning to touch with targeting sticks and things like that. So it's building up their confidence, giving them an outlet for any of that excess energy. And it also is something that makes them stand out amongst the other cats on the adoption floor and will hopefully not only make their stay here more enjoyable and less stressful, but will help them get adopted a little bit sooner. Because she's not on the standard adoption floor, you will have to go into the small animal room to see her, but she will definitely come up. It's hard to miss her. She comes right up to the front. She cries. She wants attention, and she's just showing herself to be an amazing cat. Maybe a little bit misunderstood. She would probably still do better in a cat-savvy home, but she should do well in most home environments. If you're interested in Smokey, you can visit her here at the shelter. Our address is 1832 Rosemont Avenue. This is Koda, and he is still relatively new to the shelter. He arrived at the beginning of February, and he's about 2 years old. He is an orange tabby. He came to us previously owned. Unfortunately, his owner was moving, and where they were moving to did not allow pets, so she was unable to take him along. He was a cat that she had gotten from a friend at about 6 months ago, so he hadn't been with her too long. In that time, she said that he's proven himself to be a super sweet, lovable cat. He is calm, friendly, able to handle. He's a lap cat. We can see that he's perfectly happy sitting on Sean's lap right now. He slept with her at night. But one of the things that we have found in the shelter environment is that he's not super fond of his cage, and he likes to get out and explore and roam around. So he is a cat that's going to be, it could just be the shelter, or he could be very inquisitive. You might need to be careful about making sure that he doesn't escape out the front door when you're opening things. Excuse me, things like that. A lot of times, however, it's just that they don't want to be in their cage and they want to get out and have a little bit more space. Just something to be aware of. He uses his litter box. He's a great cat. He is a cat that would possibly end up at our cat cafe. Right now, because it's winter, we don't have a lot of animals available for adoption here in the shelter, but we do still have cats over at the cat cafe. So if you don't see something that you're interested in here, you can always check them out. You can visit their website, Cat Cafe with a K, katcafe.net, and book an appointment to go in there and hang out with some of our cats. We choose cats based on a variety of reasons, but cats like Koda, who are pretty confident, very friendly, often do well there. So again, if you're not seeing something that you're interested in here, check them out as well. Koda was recently neutered. We make sure all of our cats, dogs, and rabbits are spayed or neutered before they leave, so that's part of your adoption fee. That's $97.50 covers that neuter surgery, as well as getting him up to date on all of his vaccinations, dewormer, flea and tick preventative, microchipping, licensing, and a well visit to the vet. So you really can't beat all that you're getting for that adoption fee. If you wanted to visit Koda, you could do so here at the shelter. Our address is 1832 Rosemont Avenue. Our final guest today is another returning guest, and this guy is one of our longtime residents as well. He's been with us since the beginning of November, and it's hard to tell why he's still here. He is amazing. This is Stimpy. He has previously lived with another cat. He came in with a brother named Ren, who's already been adopted, so he's great in terms of getting along in multi-cat households. He's super confident. We've taken him to the radio, and he just walked around like he owned the place, eating all kinds of treats and stuff like that. He's very calm, he's very affectionate, he still really loves to play. He's a great age. Originally he was estimated to be about 5 years old, and now they've changed it to be more like 6 to 7. But at that age, their personality is set, you know what you're getting. They're a little bit more relaxed. They're not crazy kitten, jumping all over stuff, climbing the curtains, but they're not, you know, they're not so old that you're worried about how much time you're going to have left with them. So he's at a great point in his life, and for whatever reason, he just keeps getting overlooked. He is going to be great for every house, whether you're looking for, you know, just a calm cat that's going to hang out if you're maybe, you know, an older person or a single person, just want somebody that's going to be okay to be alone for a little bit, but not be too rambunctious. Or if you have a bunch of kids, he would be great in that environment too, because he's really relaxed. You don't have to worry about him, you know, getting overstimulated and things like that. So he's just going to be a great fit for whatever household he ends up in. He has been previously sick, so sometimes people look at the notes and they're like, oh, what's URI? I'm kind of nervous about, I don't want a cat that's been sick. That just stands for upper respiratory infection, which is basically a cold. Because of the nature of being in the shelter with so many animals and the stress and the lowered immune systems, and people actually not respecting the signs that we put up that ask them not to touch the animals, germs get spread and they get sick. It's very common. Not something that you should worry about or should let deter you from adopting one of the cats on the adoption floor. It's a very common occurrence in shelters across America. So in short, Stimpy is a fantastic guy, and anybody would be lucky to have him as part of their family. You can visit him here at the shelter. 1832 Rosemont Avenue is our address. We hope you enjoyed meeting all of our, basically almost all of our cats that we have available for right now. You can always, again, check in and see if we've got new things in, or you can head over to the Cat Cafe and see if there's a cat over there that would make a great family member for you. We thank you for watching. We hope that you'll tune in again next week for Pet Pals.
Heart disease, which includes coronary heart disease, hypertension, and stroke, remains the #1 cause of death in the U.S. And it's not just a concern for older adults. Heart disease is now occurring more often among younger adults as well. Common heart attack signs and symptoms include pressure, tightness, pain, or a squeezing or aching sensation in your chest or arms that may spread to your neck, jaw, or back. Nausea, indigestion, heartburn, or abdominal pain. Shortness of breath, cold sweats, fatigue, and lightheadedness or sudden dizziness. For signs of stroke, remember the acronym FAST. F is for face drooping. A is for arm weakness. S is for speech difficulty. And T is for time. If a person shows any of these signs, it's critical to call 911 immediately. Remember, heart disease is largely preventable. Visit the CDC's Heart Disease website to learn what you can do now to keep your heart going strong.